Hello everyone, my name is M.A.D 095 and this is my review series that I'm calling Kevin's M.A.D Review. The M stands for must buy, the A stands for average, and the D stands for don't buy yet. These reviews will have spoilers for Dying Light 2 as well as Dying Light 1. Now before you like or subscribe, wait until the end to see if you enjoyed my video. You can also follow me on Twitch and Twitter. My links will be in the description. So when I saw the first announcements and trailers for Dying Light 2, I was immediately excited to find out where the world of Dying Light ended up, especially after Dying Light 1 and the following DLC storyline. Techland also showed us that the game had dialogue choices that would affect story outcomes and even cut you off from certain parts of the city and alienate you from certain factions. I was also curious to see if there was any references or characters that would mention Kyle Crane. Overall, I did enjoy the story and was pretty engaged with it the whole time. Our protagonist Aiden Caldwell is looking for his sister and also wants to kill a scientist named Waltz. Aiden has trouble with his memory after being experimented on by Waltz, which is why he wants to kill him. During multiple quests, you have dialogue choices that will affect your standing with factions as well as your story ending. There are two main factions that you can have standings with. One is the Survivors and the other is called the Peacekeepers, and they are basically like the military. In my playthrough though, I never experienced being completely alienated or cut off from entire sections of the city or the Peacekeepers. And just to let everybody know, I did end up siding with the Survivors in my playthrough. There are multiple decisions I made in the game that I would have thought would alienate me from doing anything else with the faction in general, but I was surprised to see that that wasn't the case in the game. Maybe Techland decided to cut the feature before it was even implemented into the game or something along those lines. There's one quest in particular that I remember where I decided to give a major radio tower to a survivor named Fred. That would let him control the radio stations throughout the entire city. And at first, there was nothing initially large about that decision. But later in the game, during a quest where raiders decide to attack big settlements in the city using explosives, basically a missile cannon, Fred, who was in control of the radio, was able to save thousands of survivors because he was able to let them know through the radio stations that raiders were attacking large settlements. And then I realized that my decision to give him control of the radio let him save thousands of people in the city, and that just blew my mind. There are other decisions in the story that affect whether characters die or not, but that is the one I remember the most. So I think the story of Dying Light 2 is a pretty good story. I liked it because it felt engaging and my decisions truly mattered, especially when I saw the endings and who went with Aiden. The side quests in Dying Light 2, I think, are just alright. There are some that definitely stand out though, and I'm going to talk about one of them right now. The first one actually starts as part of the main storyline. We have to find this woman named Maya, as she has a weapon from a Peacekeeper commander that was just murdered. And we need to find her because she has his weapon, and we need to find out more on how he got killed. We soon discover that Maya isn't a fully grown woman, but in fact a 12 or 13-year-old girl. We ask her how she came in possession of the weapon, and she says she happens to loot the corpse or something like that, and that nobody wants to buy the weapon from her because they'd be blamed for the murder of the commander. So we have two choices to buy it from her. We can buy it from her at her original offer for something like 400 currency, or we can negotiate it lower down to 10 currency. Either way, she's happy to get money because nobody wants the weapon anyway. The next time we see Maya, she's running from bandits because she wants to beat them up, but considering she's a little girl, she can't do that. So we decide to help her kill the bandits. After we kill the bandits, she reveals that the bandits stole a music box from her, which is very important to her. But she says since we saved her, we can keep it and sell it if we want. So we decide to help her get it back by going to the locations of the bandits that she tracked them down to. But to our surprise, when we get in there is nothing but infected because infected killed the bandits. And of course, the music box is inside of a very large infected. So, after we kill the infected and get the music box, the quest ends. So we can either sell the music box for a decent price or find Maya and bring it back to her. But in my game, I went back to the settlement that she normally would be in and I just didn't see her. I literally looked around for a good 5 minutes and just could not find her. so I decided to sell it. But later in the game, I went back to the settlement and she was standing right next to one of the merchants. So I talked to her and she asked if you found her music box. Aiden then says, "We had a deal. If I found it, I could choose to keep it or give it back to you, remember?" And she is sad to find out that I sold the music box. And that made me feel horrible. I probably just didn't see it the first time I went back, but either way, I felt bad, and now I will remember that side quest for a while. So like I said, the Dying Light 2 side quests I think are just alright, but like I said, there are some that definitely stand out. The parkour in Dying Light 2 is undeniably better than Dying Light 1's parkour, in my opinion. I say this because the movement of the parkour just feels that much better in this game. There are obviously other factors including wall running, the better grappling hook, and much more. So in the first initial reveals of the parkour for Dying Light 2, it did look a little floaty. Although now that I've played through the game and experienced it for myself, I can say that feeling of floatiness is basically non-existent. Techland has also added more things to vault over, vault under, and climb up better. And not only more skills in tune with parkour, but also paragliding and the new grappling hook. The grappling hook in Dying Light 1 was just too overpowered for my liking, but in Dying Light 2, it has improved a vast amount. For example, you can't just look anywhere with the grappling hook and it will take you to where you are looking immediately. Think of it more as swinging on a rope. The stamina in Dying Light 2 has also changed. As you upgrade your stamina, it upgrades your stamina bar so you have more. And you also can't get infinite stamina when you reach the max level, which I like. The paraglider and grappling hook also consume stamina, which I like. So, I think the parkour is one of the most important things in the Dying Light game. So when I finally experienced all the new parkour things that Techland has added, it felt that much better than the first game's parkour. The environment in Dying Light 2 is a lot different from Haran's in Dying Light 1. In Dying Light 2, there's a lot more vivid colors, which I personally like. Although there is that feeling of apocalypse and dread in the first game, which I really only experienced at night for the most part in the second one. There's a lot more grass and overgrown areas in Dying Light 2, and that's mainly because the survivors of the city are now mainly living on rooftops and also planting farms there. Overall, I personally like the environment in city more in Dying Light 2 rather than the first one, although I will admit I am more of a fan of vivid colors in video games, so that's probably why. The gameplay in Dying Light 2, I think, has also improved from the first game. Not everything though, but majority of things. One thing I saw immediately after I beat the game was that there was no New Game Plus mode, which was very odd to me because Dying Light 1 had the New Game Plus mode. I actually planned after I beat the story to do New Game Plus on the hardest difficulty, but I can't do that when it's not there. Although as of right now, Techland has hinted / confirmed that the New Game Plus mode will be coming in a later update. But I think it's weird that it's not in the game already. One thing I enjoy more in this game than the first one is that when your weapon breaks in your hand, it literally breaks in your hand. And Aiden just drops it and replaces it with another weapon from his inventory, which I like a lot more than the Dying Light 1 system where it would just stay in your hand but be completely useless. One thing I like in games like this is looting and scavenging, and just like the first one, I also enjoyed it here. I also enjoyed the inventory menu more in this game than the first one. In Dying Light 1, your inventory was just one long page, which I did not really care for. But in this game, the inventory has tabs that you click on for different things like weapons and consumables, for example, which I like. So, the gameplay in Dying Light 2 is great. The weapons feel good and fun to use, especially the secret and Easter egg one. Okay, there are literally so many of these parkour and combat challenges in the game that I'm making this its own little segment. But don't get me wrong, I like some of the challenges, but when there's so many, I feel like they just bloat the game. And just recently, Techland has added some more where you can compete with Techland's own best time, and those I actually really enjoy. That's it for this segment. I just wanted to talk about how many of these challenges there actually are. If you enjoyed this video, feel free to like and subscribe. But before you do, I want you to go to the subscribe button's house, break in, and steal all of his pottery and sell it on eBay. and when he tries to buy it back from you, sell it back for double what he paid for it, and a laugh in his face. I hope you have a good day, and I'll see you next time.